Hi, this is David Lamb. We're going to start the webinar. We're going to run through the P series and all the changes that happened with 7.0, and hopefully you'll start to see more opportunity with the new release version and also the new pricing. Jeff France is actually going to run through it. If you have any questions, if you can post it in the question box, and we'll come to those at the end. All your phones are on mute just so we don't get disrupted by background noise. So the best way to obviously send those questions is put them in the question box, and I'm going to hand it over to Jeff.
Hello, everyone. Jeffrey France, Area Manager for Mitsubishi, handling Eastern PA, Philadelphia metro area, Southern New Jersey, and Delaware. And with me is also James Miracle, Area Manager covering the rest of Eastern PA and Central PA. So today, I want to spend some time, go over the Mitsubishi P Series, exclusively with the new Series 7 that had come out, and go over some of the updates and some of the advantages with that system. So we'll take a look at the new P Series outdoor units and the improvements, the capacity ranges, operating range, longer maximum refrigerant piping lengths, low ambient operation. We'll take a look at some of the different indoor units with the multi-position air handler, horizontal ducted indoor unit, wall mount, ceiling suspended, and the ceiling cassette. We'll talk about the backwards capability, controls, and also warranty. Start off with the outdoor unit with the new Series 7. You can see there both in heat pump and in air conditioning. We have the size ranging from 12,000 BTU up to 42,000 BTU. The heat pump in the 12,000 BTU is actually the latest system added to that lineup. With the Series 7, we were actually able to have an increase in the SEER ratings from 22 to 67%, an increase in the EER ratings from 20 to 55%, and in the HSPF ratings from 5 to 18%. And that's all based on the indoor unit model that's applied to that. We had a new design with the fan blade. We also had some operational range increases, low ambient cooling capability down to minus 20 degrees when used with our wind baffles. And also we have a one-for-one connection with the PVA, multi-position air handling unit. See here the differences, little comparison between the older Series 6 outdoor units and the newer Series 7 here on the bottom. Like I said earlier, with the addition of the 12,000 BTU being added, we had a new cabinet compressor update. We had a grill change as well with the outdoor units. You can take a look here as far as the difference when it comes to the condenser fan. The size basically got larger. We went from 19.29 inches to 21.65 inches. And what we were able to do with that broader surface area was get more air across that coil. We were able to get an increase of the airflow rate up to 10% and still keeping our noise level down. You can see there at the 47 dB. Here's some of the capacities that we have, both cooling and heating, with our heat pump models. You can see there with our 12,000 BTU cooling range of 4,800 to 12,000 BTU and 5,500 to 20,000 BTU of heating, all the way down to our 42 with a minimum of 15,000 BTU of cooling and a maximum of 48,000 BTU of heating, just giving you an idea of the capacity that we have through the full breadth of the heat pump models. Also, in comparison to our M series, I don't know if you guys have done much as far as with the P series in the past, but with the M series, primarily residential product, our P series more toward a light commercial, larger residential product. You can see here with the P series that we get longer line fit links capabilities than we do compared to the M series. You're looking at anywhere from 65 feet to 100 feet with an M series line length. We're 165 feet to 225 feet with the P. We also have a higher height difference when it comes to the outdoor unit to indoor unit, ranging from 40 to 50 feet on the M series. With the P, we're able to do a maximum of 100. Also, M series not used for critical cooling capabilities. Actually, 14 degrees outdoor ambient temperature is the lowest that's allowed for an M series. But with our P series equipment, we're actually able to get down to a maximum of minus 20 degrees outside when used with our wind baffle kits. Here, just giving you a range what we have with that when it comes to cooling. Just a factory operational range can go down to 23. If we add our standard wind baffle, we can go down to 0 degrees. And if we add the advanced wind baffle kit, we're able to go down to a maximum of -20, except for in our 42 PUY unit. Some of the applications that you might require a low ambient cooling application, that's going to be computer server rooms, elevator equipment rooms, remote communication buildings, some medical image equipment rooms, commercial kitchens. There's even some residential applications that might require that as well. So just keep that in mind when you have that low ambient cooling capability or that application. You definitely want to use the P-Series for that. Also, our P-Series, which is primarily all one-for-one applications. We do not have multi-zone in the P-Series line, but we do have the capability of twinning a P-Series. Application would be for this if you had a larger rectangular space, you were concerned about the total air distribution throughout that space. We do have the capability of, in the 24,000 BTU and 36,000 BTU, splitting it up with two even indoor units, two 12s or two 18,000 BTUs. Now they're going to be run simultaneously. They will be on the same zone, used in the same room, and the use of our PAR 33 controller is going to be required for that. We do have the accessory distribution pipe with the model number listed here that you'll use to pipe those two in, and you basically wire that control in a daisy chain fashion. But we do have that capability of twinning. Another capability that we also have as well, and again used with our PAR 33 control, is if you have two P-Series single zone units, you can do a lead lag function with that, especially when we're talking some of those critical server room applications. That could be a perfect fit for that kind of scenario. And then we have a full comprehensive selection of our indoor units. As you can see here, again, we're single zone, one for one, but we have a cooling only outdoor unit. We have a conventional heat pump outdoor unit. We also have a hyperheat capability outdoor unit. But with our indoor units, we start off with our wall mount, which is a PKA. We have the mid-tier static low profile ducted model, the PEAD. We have the ceiling cassette with our PLA, the ceiling suspended with the PCA, and our multi-position air handling unit with the PVA. We'll go over each one of those indoor unit applications. Like I had mentioned earlier, we have a hyperheat opportunity as well, where we're 100% of the rated heating capacity down to 5 degrees, with heating capacities down to -13. You can see our efficiency ratings are very good. We're a 17 SEER and 10.4 HSPF. Now in the hyperheat models, we are limited as far as the different sizes. We have a 30,000, a 36,000, and a 42,000 BTU unit. But any one of the indoor heads here, the PKA, PLA, PAD, the PCA, or the PVA, can be tied into that and provide hyperheat performance. And our maximum heating capacity on all that is at 48,000 BTU. Start off with our PVA. This has been a home run. This is pretty much the big brother of our MVZ air handling unit in our M series. That can be connected up again to a heat pump or air conditioning. We have the addition of the 12, the 18, and the 24,000 BTUs, which have been added to that line. You can see here with our air conditioning or heat pump, conventional heat pump, we have the 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, and 42 capacities. And again, in our hyperheat, we have the 30, 36, and 42,000 BTU capacity units. With these efficiencies, we're talking ranging from 18 to 21 SEER. One of the changes with the Series 7 as well, not only just in efficiencies, capacities, and design changes, we also were able to do a price change as well to bring us more in line with the rest of the light commercial market that's out there. And with this PVA air handling unit, it also has the CM24 control logic, humidifier control, and dry mode function. Some of the other key points with the PVA is this is a positive pressure cabinet, so we are talking less than 1% when it comes to air leakage. The blower is down at the bottom, so the advantage to that is if we have a certain height requirement that we're trying to keep this unit within a certain amount of space, we can do a side return with this particular air handling unit. It does not have to require a return box to be mounted underneath the unit, so that is a plus. We are talking about 1-inch Rubitex insulation when it comes to this unit. Also, with the positive pressure, there's no requirement for a trap with that. We do have optional electric heat kits that are available, and I'll show you on the next slide, with a maximum capacity up to 17 kW. And you can do the optional humidifier control and ERV control as well. But this air handling unit is going to be more in line with that conventional air handling unit, where we can go up to a 0.8 external static inches of water column, and it is an ECM motor. Like I mentioned, the electric heater kits are available. They come in 8 different sizes, ranging from 3 to 17 kW. There is 2-stage heat capability with these units, starting with the 8 up to the 17. They have the CN24, can be activated as supplemental heat, and these units are separate pieces that mount on top of the PVA air handling units, so they will add an additional 6 inches to the height. So just be aware of that when you're designing that system. Then we have our mid-static, the horizontal ducted, low-profile air handling unit, basically the bigger brother of the SEZ and our M series. And there's been 2 additional models that have been added to this line, and that's the 12,000 and the 18,000 BTU. Not sure if everyone's aware, but you can use P-series indoor units along with the MXZ multi-zone outdoor units. So if you have that application where you're looking at using an SEZ, or low static ducted model, and you're just concerned as far as on the number of runs or the distance of the ductwork, you can put a PAED in its place and get up to a 0.6 static to be able to handle that additional airflow. We have, like I mentioned, the 12 and the 18, and we also go all the way up to the 42,000 BTU unit as well. Here's some of the target applications that you might use with that PEAD. Some of those are going to be the net zero, the high performance homes, where we need, again, that higher static than what the M series SEZ can normally handle. You can see over here on the chart when we're talking about a 0.2 inches of static pressure compared to a 0.6, and what we're talking about efficiency differences when we're talking in a 1-for-1 application. Also, when you just need more airflow, either due to additional amount of runs or for a longer duct run, where an SEZ just might, fall short, not give you that full volume that you're looking for that application. Here's some of the efficiency changes with the changes from the Series 7, from the older Series 6. You can see that we're able to increase the SEER rating an average of 22%. The EER rating an average of 38%, and the HSPF rating an average of 5%. We also have the PKA, which is the wall mount model. One note to mention that if you have not done much as far as with the P series, one thing that's going to be different from the M series is any of the wall mount or floor mount models that you're used to ordering on the M series that will come with the handheld control in the box. When it comes to our P series products, none of the indoor units come with any controls whatsoever. You're going to have to order a separate control based on the type of application that you're looking for, just so be aware of that. But here with the PKA, we do have the models ranging from the 12,000 BTU up to the 36,000 BTU in both cooling and heat pump options. Here's some of the efficiency increases that we've had with the Series 7. Again, increasing the SEER rating, an average of 29%, the EER at 29% as well, and the HSPF rating of 5%. We have our ceiling suspended, which is the PCA. That does have a ventilation knockout for a maximum of 150 CFM, so just be aware of that. And again, we have the capacity range of 24,000 to 42,000 BTU in this particular model, again, in cooling or in heat pump option. And here are the efficiency increases with that PCA Series 7. increasing the SEER rating an average of 26%, EER of 20%, and 9% when it comes to the 30,000 BTU model. And then our PLA, lots of increases when it came to this particular unit. Again, you can see here the capacities that we have available, starting with a 12,000 BTU all the way up to a 42,000 BTU. We now have the new low-profile square design, some efficiency improvements that were up to 90%. We have the 3D turbo fan. We were able to improve the vane control, the direction, indirect, and direct mode settings. And incorporated with each one of these units is now going to be the 3D IC sensor. So we have the 4 areas that the IDC sensor can look at, and also the human absence detection when it comes to that. And one of the other improvements has been the easier panel installation, which we'll go over some of those points as well. Taking a look at the efficiency increases from the old Series 6 to the Series 7 when it comes to the PLA, you can see we were able to increase the SEER ratings an average of 67%. That's huge. Our EER increases to 55%, and HSPF ratings of up an average of 18%. And you can see there's a total of 4 combinations that are actually Energy Star rated as well. Upgrade to our panel design. We went to more of a stylish square design, and again incorporated with that 3D IC sensor. You can see the difference here from the older model to the newer model. You can also make note when it comes to this newer model that there is a 4-inch knockout on the one side, where if you did want to bring in outside fresh air, you can do that. Just keep in mind that if you're going to perform that function, that you want to include that additional load into your calculations and into your design. You also have the capability of the knockouts on here on the other side for an additional supply run if required. If you have that larger room application with a side room off to the side, and you just want to get some cooling and heating into that room as well, you can tap into this knockout and run up to a 6-inch round run over to that to get a ceiling supply off that unit. You see here with the some of the improvements, the ease of installation, where we have the temporary hanging hook, we have the easier panel removal, we have the easier piping work. You can see here that from that face you can actually remove the corner sections, which will allow access to either your hanging connections, your refrigeration connections, or electrical connections. And all of these different functions or add-ons that have been done, what it really correlates to is reduced installation time compared to the current model. Here are the hanging hooks. You can see that you can temporarily hang that entire grill face on that unit, so it allows you to sort of hand it in place while you get the screws attached to it, and that's a big help. And also the corner pieces, the screws to the electrical connection, and what we have here is the fixing panel screw has also been improved, so not all the screws have to be fully removed, just loosened, so that the section can be removed and you can gain access to that, again helping out as far as when it comes to any servicing as well. There was a change done when it came to the piping and also the insulation that's provided with the unit. You can see the piping here, the suction and liquid line connections were separated to give more room, more space, so you can get your tools in there along with a torque wrench, and there was a longer piece of insulation provided as well to cover up as far as that connection. That 3D IC sensor, what that is able to do is take a 360 degree detection of the space where it's located. It can go ahead and detect where people are located, the number of people in the space. It's an 8-element sensor that's also sensing the floor surface as well, and being able to put that heating and cooling exactly where it needs to be in the space instead of just a blanket full coverage like some of the other manufacturers that are out there on the market. You can see here with some of the different modes that are available with that ID sensor. You have the Energy Saver Auto mode. What that will do when it's in that mode, the 3D IC sensor will detect within the space where the occupants are located. If there's an area of the space that's not being occupied, it will not send the heating or cooling to that particular area. Pretty much focus on where the people are located within that space. By doing that, we're able to increase the energy efficiencies and look at some savings here. We're up to cooling up to 25% and with heating up to 40% savings, and that's in comparison to the older unit that did not have the 3D IC sensor. You also have the Comfort Auto Mode that's available as well. That was where you can actually go ahead and set up individually per vane either indirect or direct airflow capability based on the space and the occupants in the space and how they like to have that air sent out throughout the room. Some people like to have direct flow where it's going to find where those people are at and to provide the air to them directly. Some people don't like to have the air blowing on them, and that's where an indirect flow option might be a better option, where it's going to look at the heating and cooling to find out where the occupants are for that particular vane setting and try to keep the airflow away from them. Also, there is the energy save mode. That's where the 3D IC sensor is taking a look and as far as the maximum capacity within the space. Once it senses that the occupants in the room have dropped down to about 30%, it will then do an automatic setback from the temperature setting, either plus or minus 2 degrees, allowing for some additional energy savings. There's the no occupancy energy save mode, and in that particular mode, if it senses where there's no occupants within the space, after 60 minutes, it will then automatically adjust the temperature setting either plus or minus 4 degrees. Keep in mind that the minute that it does sense any occupants back in the space, it will then go back to the initial setting and set point that was on the unit. And we also have the auto off mode, and that has an actual setting that you can set up for that within 60 to 180 minutes, if it senses that there's no occupancy in the space, it will then go ahead and shut the unit off, and you can adjust that time frame in 10-minute increments. And here's what I was talking about earlier with the direct and indirect airflow. If someone likes to have the air blowing on them or have that feeling of like a natural breeze, that's where you can set the direct airflow up for that particular vane. We'll do a full swing, see where people are at, and direct the airflow to them. Or the opposite, the indirect airflow, which primarily will keep most of the air on a horizontal level, still conditioning the space properly, but trying to keep the air directly away from that occupant within the space. You can see down here on the graph at the bottom as far as the differences when it comes to cooling and heating, indirect or direct flow, and with the occupant detection and where those louvers are going to be located as far as their position. Then it comes to our backwards compatibility as far as any of the Series 6 systems that still may be out there in stock. How can that compare or can it be linked up to some of our new Series 7? Well, as you can see here by this graph, that you can have some of the older Series 6 connect to some of the Series 7, but as a good rule of thumb, I always recommend that if you ever have that in question, that you want to call our customer care number and verify that an older Series 6 will tie in to our Series 7. But this graph gives you somewhat of an indication. You can see here with the when it comes to the outdoor unit with the PLA and the PVA that we cannot connect up, primarily with the PLA because of the 3D IC sensor, and when it comes to the PVA with the logistics of that control board inside of that indoor unit. Also, some of the backwards compatibility when it comes to the Hyperheat P-Series model as well, based on some of the older Series 6 indoor units and Series 7 indoor units. You can see there, for the most part, we are able to tie into most of those units in the older series. And then when it comes to the control options that are available with our P-Series units, very similar to what's available with our M-Series as well. We have a full line of control options. You can see here we start off with the Honeywell, Mitsubishi Honeywell RedLink, the MHK1 thermostat with the wireless receiver. That is RedLink technology. Presently, right now, for remote access, you do have the gateway, internet gateway that you can tie into that. But just so you're aware, as we get into 2018, there will be an upgrade coming out to that MHK1, where it's going to be more of a high-definition touchscreen, and going to be also be able to tie into Kumo Cloud as well. We have the thermostat adapter. That is if there's an existing thermostat, or if the end user has a particular stat that they're fond of and care to use, you do have that option of using that thermostat adapter, tying into the indoor unit and being able to tie into that existing thermostat, basically converting the 12-volt DC from our systems over to the 24-volt control wiring. Then we also have our Kumo Cloud. That has been a big hit as far as on our M series, but also available on our P series as well. And that is a control that ties into the C105 connector. And then there's a Kumo Cloud app that you can use on either an Apple phone or a Galaxy phone, free app. There is no limitation on the amount of indoor units that you can use with that. When we're talking about the internet gateway with the MHK1, you're limited to 4 of those controls off of one gateway. When it comes to the Kumo Cloud, it's unlimited. So it gives us more application there. And coming out here in the near future, we'll also have the Kumo Cloud remote temperature sensor and also Kumo Station. We also have the PAR 33 control. Again, like I had mentioned earlier, a control that's required for use if you're looking at either twinning or doing a lead lag application with the P series units. And we also have the simple MA controller as well. So just a quick installation guidelines. This is just a quick reference here when it comes to the cooling only. Our PUY systems are 230-volt single phase. All right. They do have a chargeless feature. So from the 12,000 to the 13,000 BTU system, they are pre-charged to handle a line set up to 70 feet. The 42,000 BTU can handle up to 100 feet. But if you're using a piping length that's longer than any of those two lengths, you will need to add some refrigerant. But anything that's shorter than that, there is no refrigerant that's required to be removed. You can see here our temperature range set points with the P series range from 67 to 87 degrees. One thing to keep in mind, again, is always think about that airflow coverage when it comes to the indoor units, either in that ceiling cassette or that wall mount unit. Do you have the throw capable of handling the heating, the proper heating and cooling within that space? Do you need the twin? Do you need to do another unit? These are things just to keep in mind when you are out there and designing for a particular application. And also keep in mind about proper clearance requirements when it comes to the P series outdoor units. I always reference that you always want to do a double check on the MyLink drive. Look up any of the installation manuals or engineering manuals or submittals when it comes to that equipment, and keep in mind as far as the distance that you want to have when it comes to the outdoor unit away from the wall, outdoor units side by side when they're blowing in opposite directions, or if they're blowing toward each other, you want to be mindful of those minimum distances. You can see here your 3 outdoor units look to be air conditioning P series models with wind baffles installed. And also warranties. When it comes to our P series equipment, when it's installed in a commercial application, it does have a 10-year parts, 10-year compressor warranty. Now, if it's installed in a residential single-family application and it's installed by a diamond contractor, it will get the additional 2 years of warranty and match that of our M series of a 12-year parts, 12-year compressor. Do recommend that you register all the equipment through our website, the registermehvac.com website, and you want to have that performed within 90 days of the installation. So, some P series takeaways from what we went over so far. You can see that with the increases of our Series 7, we've been able to go up to a 60% increase in the efficiencies with that new transition. We've had the significant price realignment to compete with that light commercial competition that's been out there on the market. With the addition of that PEAD 12 and 18, I think this is a great fit for either that single zone P series application or to be tied into an M series MXZ multi-zone install when you don't have the room for the conventional multi-position air handler, but you need a little bit more airflow You need that higher static than you would normally have with the SEZ. Here's where the PEAD, especially with this 12 and 18, is a home run. And also coming as we get into 2018 will be the addition of a 9 and a 15 in that model as well. And then our 3D IC sensor, with all the different functionality that control has, is now also factory installed on all of the cassettes. So with that, that's pretty much wraps it up for the P-Series updates. Are there any questions? We'll take a look here real quick.
Yeah, we'll send the slideshow out, this is David Lamb. When we'll email that out with to all the people who registered. We'll also put this up on YouTube. We've recorded it, so that will give people easy access as well if you want to share it with other people in your company, etc. I have a question, and they always fill people's eyes with fear. So we've got all these great features and functions. What do we want our dealers to do differently, given we have this new product set, you know, a new price point? What are we asking them to do?
Just asking to keep in mind some of the different applications that might be out there that you might have tried to use maybe in the M series, where the P series is going to be a better fit. Keep in mind, guys, our P series is made to handle that type of heavier application. It is more robust, and it can take more of the stringent loads when it comes to some of the lighter commercial applications, where the M series primarily is right there just for your residential application only.
So with the better price point, we can address those light commercial opportunities more efficiently.
Absolutely. Yep.
Are there certain features that give us better differentiation when we're against the competition?
I would say definitely, especially with the PLA, is going to be the 3D IC sensor. That is something that's a home run for Mitsubishi. Nobody else is able to be able to handle the coverage and sensing of the heating and cooling within the space like that 3D IC sensor can. And when it comes to our PVA multi-position air handling unit, what we're able to do with that heating performance, where we can be 100% of the rated heating capacity down to 5 degrees outside. There's very few systems out there in the market that even come close.
Okay. I think that's all the questions we have. So thank you, everyone, for your time. Hopefully you found it useful. Like I said, we'll send out the slides and also let you know the link to the recording on YouTube. Hope everyone has a great day.
Have a great day.